Yeah, so my name's Jason Vasche. I'm a cataloging librarian here at Round Rock Public Library. Like I said, I've been here since 2018. And the last time I gave a presentation at koha-US, things were very different. It was 2020. I was in the cataloging office across the street in the old library, which is now mostly gutted, speaking into my computer. I think I was talking about macros or the advanced cataloging editor or something. I can't quite remember. Oh yeah, I got a thumbs up in the back. My colleague back there. So I'm glad to be here in person. Glad to see all of you. So many faces. Some I recognize from different SIGs or past Koha events, and lots of new faces too. So welcome, welcome, welcome. So this is going to be an introduction to batch MARC modification templates and batch bibliographic record updates in Koha. So really quick, how many of you guys are experts doing batch record modification? Come on, don't be shy. All right, a couple. Come on, don't be shy, guys. No, I'm not talking about item modifications, bib record modifications. Come on. Okay, all you guys who raised your hands, there's a third of a Texas-sized donut back there that needs to be destroyed by the end of my presentation. I think there are a few tacos too, so no. In all seriousness, I am not an expert by any means in using this tool. I certainly have gaps in my knowledge. And so at the end, when we have questions and comments, if any of you guys want to fill in those gaps, keep me honest, help shed some more light on this tool. It's a great and flexible and helpful tool for any kind of like catalog processing, catalog maintenance, processing records to be imported, stuff like that. So what we're going to do a kind of an overview of the process using an example from a project that I did. We'll look at a few other templates, the modification templates, and then at the end, we'll do a real-time example, not so much just for the example itself, but so that you can see, so we can kind of go through this process in real time, and you can see kind of what all the different drop-down menus do, which you won't see in the screenshots that I do, in the first part of the presentation. So, so if you have questions, let's save them for the end, and we'll just do them all together. We can go back through slides if we need to and revisit things. So, hey now, I'm stuck. Oh, there we go. All right, great. So, as the name of the tool states, so I guess they're two very closely related things. You have MARC modification templates, and you have batch record modification in Koha using the cataloging module. And so you can't have a batch record modification without using templates, right? So we'll kind of get into both of those. As the name states, it provides a variety of actions for modifying MARC records or a batch of bibliographic MARC fields in a batch of bibliographic records. I'm told that this also can be used to process authority records. But as I don't do anything with authorities, I'm not going to speak to that at all. So we'll just focus on bib records. And kind of the limits of my practical experience with this in doing projects, it's largely been adding and updating local collection notes, column number subfields, item types, and then also deleting subject headings from records for vocabularies that we don't use. Right, so we don't use Sears or FAST. Most of the foreign language ones, like I've seen in the last 8 months, maybe a lot of French records, RVMGF, and so it's a nuisance to have to go through and to purge all those individually from records. So this is a nice way to kind of like eliminate those in one fell swoop. When you're importing or however you're whatever the workflow is. So one thing I'll say about the modification tool as its weakness or its limit is that you're not able to add indicators to MARC fields. So I find this particularly troublesome for subject headings and genre form headings, right? It's easy to delete subject headings. It's not really easy to add subject headings. I mean, for example, I have almost 3,500 manga records to which I'd like to add the appropriate LCGFT heading, but because I can't add that second indicator 7, then I'm really better off doing it all in MARC Edit, because if I were to add this using the batch modification tool, I would probably most likely have to go back through and add that second indicator 7 individually to all these records, and no one's got time for that, right? But so thankfully there is a related bug that's been in Bugzilla for a while. It's number 21860. I've been told that it's on koha-US's list of bugs for potential funding. So here's hoping everyone get on your computers and go to that bug and talk it up. Once you learn like how great and flexible this tool is. But so here's hoping it gets voted on and that can get added. So it'd be a great addition to a great tool. So let's so I'll also mention there are I kind of mentioned the types of actions that I will usually perform with this. In the slide, there's also, you'll see down at the bottom, there are several other modification actions. You can, you can move text from one field to another. You can copy fields. You can copy and replace fields. I won't really be talking about any of these because, one, I don't have any practical experience doing it, and two, I have kind of a hard time thinking of like what sorts of situations someone might need to do that in a bibliographic record. But again, maybe someone who has experience using those can shed some light on that subject at the end. So there we are. All right. So for those of you guys who are familiar with batch item modification, you'll see straight off as we look at the kind of the process overview that it's quite different from batch item modification, right? With batch item modification, you've got your list of barcodes, you plug them in, and you've got all the list of the different fields that can be added. They're all right there. So you've got your variable fields, you got your drop downs, you change what you want to change, you hit the button, and boom, it's done, right? With this, it's a process that goes through a sequence of steps. And so we'll go through this with some slides from a recent project that I did, which was processing a large batch of donated Great Courses titles. So you guys all familiar with Great Courses? It's usually like sets, bundles of DVDs with books or CDs with books. So we got a huge donation from someone, and it filled up, the better part of 2 carts. And so, we went through it and, imported all these OCLC records and, made my list. So I had my list of biblio numbers, which, right, we use barcode numbers for batch item modification. For batch bib modification, we use the biblio numbers. So that's, keep that in mind. So I had all my biblio numbers, and so I chunked it in, and we'll kind of walk you through the process here. So just really quickly, I kind of condensed the steps here. You've got, you create a new template or you modify an existing one. You upload the file of your biblio numbers. You apply the template, and then you press the button and watch the magic happen. It's really that easy. We can probably just end there, but we won't. So let's get started. Oh, no, more. We're not done with the donut yet. All right. So we go. If you go into the cataloging module, first thing we need to do is construct our template. From the catalog editor, we click on MARC Modification templates. And what you can do, templates can be built new from the ground up, or you can take an existing one and duplicate it, and then edit things or add other actions or remove things as desired, which is really useful for something if you have if you're doing something where, say, like what I mentioned before, where you're going to be removing a lot of subject headings with from vocabularies that you don't use. It's a lot easier to just duplicate a template that already includes that, rather than build in all those actions one by one. And we'll get more into that in the next step. So what we'll do is if we click on new template, right, and then So here we have, so this is the template that I had constructed for our Great Courses cleanup here. And so you see each of these rows is what they call an action, right? So the action, so a template could include a single action, or it could include dozens of actions. And this one, I mean, the bottom half, so this one has 20 actions. A lot of them are, very similar. Like if you'll see, lots of, delete lots of 6xx fields for different vocabularies. You'll see one thing you'll notice here. So actions, they can be unconditional, right? If you look at the rank 1 action, add new field 092 subfield A with value GC. That's going to be our call number prefix. And so that is just do this, period, right? Other actions are conditional, right? If you look at the second one, delete field 600 if 600 subfield 2 matches Bizach, what's the official pronunciation? Anyone? Bisac. Thank you. All right, Bisac. All right. But so we have these different types of actions. On the left-hand column, you see change order, and that I've only used change order to arrange my actions numerically by MARC field. When I'm cataloging, I use the advanced cataloging editor. So I'm used to just seeing the flow of the record top to bottom numerically. And so arranging these actions in that kind of order helps me to visualize what's going to be removed, what's going to be added within the context of the MARC record. Now, I'm sure that depending on what sort of conditional actions are specified, it seems that change order could have a more complex and meaningful use, but I've not encountered any of that myself. So it's possible, I'm sure, and maybe someone else can speak to that at the end. Finally, one thing I should mention, regex here, or regex, as some people will call it, stands for regular expressions. And there's an option we'll see when we go into, here. So if you click on new action here, down here, you can add a new action, and you see the, the drop downs, entries, and you see over there on the far right, there's a little regex box. And now, honestly, I don't really know, what the value of using regular expression versus a normal, irregular expression is in this context. For my limited use, the normal language, the normal expressions work fine. So I will not really be delving into regex here, but know that it is an option for those of you who are more skilled and knowledgeable about regex. So we have our template. So if we wanted to add a new action, we would use this. Again, when we do our little live exercise, I'll kind of show you the different drop-down menus, what they do, and then you just click add action, and then you can use the change order to arrange it as you like within the template. So once we have our template done, we can apply it to the desired group of records. Right? We have our batch of biblio numbers. This could be from a report CSV file, could be manually entered, right? And if those of you who use batch item modification, you'll recognize those two entry methods also. One difference between the two is that with batch record modification, you have an option to submit biblio numbers from a list that you've created in Koha. So if you make lots of lists, you can import that directly rather than converting it to a different kind of file. So we would add our record numbers, and then down towards the bottom, you see template here in red, and you would have your drop-down menu of all your different templates. We choose the one that we want. We click continue. And then again, kind of similar to the batch item modification, we have a list of all of the records that are going to be updated or going to be modified. And if you click on the show mark button, it will show you a list of the record that as it is going to be. But, and maybe this is another weakness, weakness is too strong a word, but another thing about this tool is that when it displays the mark, it doesn't highlight the changes that are going to be made, right? So say you're adding a 500 note, it's not, the text is all in black. It's not going to show that 500 note in green or red, or it's not going to show in red things that are going to be deleted, right? Like you see if you're merging records, you can see, what's going to be chopped out, what's going to be added in. So you can very clearly get a feel for, okay, this is going to work or this is not going to work. I need to go back and keep working on it. You still can, but it's just not quite as obvious. So at the end, then, once you've got your list, you just click on Modify Selected Records, and then you just wait for the magic to happen. And again, depending on how big your batch is, could be really fast, could be not quite as fast, but then you can go back through and you can check your records and make sure everything looks good. On that note, one thing that I would strongly suggest is, and when you apply a template for the first time, it's best to test it on a small subgroup of records, obviously, right? If there are problems with the record, we only want to have to go back and fix 3 records rather than 100 or 1,000 or whatever, right? So so just a word to the wise. So so the process template's applied, the process is run, and that's that. So I'll show you. I'll show another example of a template that I created for a large batch bib modification project. So in this, we had created a new item type for graphic novels and manga. So the former I type was book. We had created a new one for comics, so we needed to update all the 942 fields in the bib record. And so what I ended up doing, and this is, like I said, some are very short. You have like one action, you have dozens of actions. This one has a few, and you see they're all pretty much identical, right? So this was just a matter of, getting all the records that have these, that match these call number prefixes, and then updating or adding the new 942 field comics for those. So it's a pretty straightforward tool. It was really daunting. I remember that the first time I tried to do batch record modification, I don't think I had really been trained to do it. I'd been trained to do batch item modification. So that must be very similar. And so, imagine my surprise when I go, what is this template thing? And so I was a little freaked out at first, right? Oh my gosh, this is really complicated. But it really isn't. I mean, it can be complicated, but it doesn't have to be. No, not quite there yet. Oh, so one other thing, a handy use for MARC modification templates is that you can, when you're staging records for import, you can modify those with templates, right? We have import profiles, which are sort of like that. We kind of specify we want these fields added, don't want these fields in it. But so you can use them in conjunction with or in lieu of import profiles when staging records for import to give extra flexibility in processing, right? So say you have a batch of records, and this may not work for all of your imports, like from a vendor where you get a huge batch of records that may be like, mixed media, right? There might be, comics or, kids books or fiction or whatever, all kind of mushed together. But so it may be more useful if you're importing kind of like more carefully selected or grouped batches of records, say from OCLC or somewhere, where they're all going to be the same file or same media type. So for instance, like say we have, a bunch of DVDs and Blu-rays coming in from somewhere, right? You may have your import profile for that, but you can also then, if we create a template, right, we can update our 092, our call number prefix, depending on, right? So we see like in 3 and 4, right? So we update our existing or add new field 092 subfield A with the value blue if the 347 subfield B matches Blu-ray, right? Or DVD that matches DVD video. And similarly, we can update the I type this way. So we can tailor things a little more with a template and not have to do as much when we go through, we have our import profile, and we have to go through and kind of like modify individual records in there. So, and this template did not take long. This template took maybe 10 minutes to make. And so, I don't know, it's just an example of a way that you can add some more flexibility to your import, your record import processing, and that much less time you have to spend sifting through and deleting fields from the record as you're cataloging. Oops, not to the end yet. So now we're going to do a little exercise just to kind of walk through this in real time. Again, mostly so we can point out some of the different drop-down menus, and you can see that before we finish and we have time for questions. So I'm going to jump out of this. I think I'm still sharing. Very good. Yes. Whoops. Oh, sorry. I have to get into my koha here. Talk amongst yourselves. Eat donuts. Eat tacos. Ah. Gosh. Ah. It's beep, boop, boop, ba. All right. Let's bring this over here. This will be a little interesting. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go to the cataloging module, and I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. Make this a little bit bigger. All right. I think that's big enough. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to go to. So before I jump into this, we have to specify what are we doing, right? So I'm going to be adding a note to most of the Dungeons and Dragons books in our print RPG collection. So this note is going to tell us that these are supplemental materials that require the core rule books in order to play. Okay, easy peasy. So first we'll make our modification template. So we go to MARC Modification templates, and we see all our templates here. Default is unhelpfully not alphabetical. You can make them alphabetical if you want. So we could, again, you can duplicate templates if you have a lot of things to add. We're just adding a single 500 note. So we're just going to make a new one. So I got a new template. Come on. Ah, here we are. So again, this gives us yet another choice. Are you sure you don't want to duplicate a template? Yes, I'm sure. I'm positive. I'm good. Thank you. So I'm going to say D&D supplement. Whoops. Submit. So we have no actions in here. So we do click on our new action. Either way, takes us to the same place. So this is kind of what I really wanted to look at here with this. So we see all of our new action possibilities. We can delete something. No. We can add new. Yeah. Update existing or add new. Right. You saw that in some of the other examples. And then here are these three mysterious ones to me. Maybe some greater mind than mine can share about. Move, copy, and replace. We're going to add new. So we're going to add new fields 5. So the first little field here is for the actual MARC number, and then the second one is for the subfield, right? Not the indicator, the subfield, not the indicator. Right? So subfield is going to be subfield A, and the value is going to be supplemental material for use with the 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons core rulebooks. Handbook. Monster manual. Dungeon Master's Guide. This is kind of frustrating here. You only have this tiny little window, but fortunately, period there. Fortunately, we'll have a chance to review this before we actually apply this. So now this next line, this is where we could start adding conditional things, right? We see if or unless. So if we click on one of those, then it opens up some more things. So we could, if this was like if I was working from a bigger list, I could say if, say field 092 subfield A matches, D&D or whatever, right? Whatever, whatever I wanted to do. And then if I knew anything about regex and I knew it was helpful, I could click this button, but I don't, and we're not doing that. But so we don't need a conditional statement here. Oh, and then description. This is just sort of like if you wanted to say, adds a note, adds 500 note, right? However you want to describe it, but we don't need to do that because this is just, this is just for well, not for fun. This is for this, right? It is for fun. Yeah, poor. What am I thinking? Okay, so we're going to add this action. Now we can see it. Add new field 500 subfield A with value supplemental material for use of the 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons core rulebooks, Player's Handbook, Monster Manual, and Dungeon Master's Guide. Of course, if we see that there's a typo or something, we can always go back in and edit it. And then it's there it is. We don't need to do that. So we've got our template done. Now we can apply the template to our list of records. So let me go back to cataloging. And we will go to batch record modification. I don't know how many times I've gone to batch item modification on accident and been stumped for a moment before realizing batch record modification. So here we have our options. We could upload a file. We could select a list of records, right? I've got all our libraries lists here, or we could just enter a list of record numbers, which is what we're going to do because I only have 4, right? This is a new template. I'm not going to just chunk a bunch of stuff in there. I'm going to start out small. Okay, so let's see here. Whoops. And then space or a line. Whoops. Oh. Okay.
Looks like a chunk to me.
It's a very little chunk. It is a chunk. But relatively speaking, it's a small chunk. I mean, it's not a huge list to begin with, but it's still a smaller chunk. Okay, so we've got our numbers. Now we're going to select our template. Yes, so thankfully here, this is all nice and alphabetical, so we don't have to hunt and peck. D&D supplement. So we go to continue. And then here we have our list. All right, that gives us our bib number, our title. We can click on show mark, and here you'll see what I was talking about earlier. It's all this nice, lovely light gray. Even our new 500 notes, gray. But it's here, and that's the important thing. So we can close out of that. So now all we have to do is modify these records, and we're good, right? Let's press the button. The job has been queued. There's no turning back. All right, so that's probably long enough to. I'll try the first one. Into the Borderlands, not board, not that kind of board. No way. It's great modules. Okay. Into the Borderlands. Here we are. First one. Okay. Oops. Come on. Here we are. Okay. So I'm just going to click on Edit Record, and we're just going to see if this is shaken through yet. Well, I hate this. I'm sorry, fans of the basic editor. I'm not a fan. I can't do it. Whoops. All right, here we go. Scroll. Yeah, here we are. Yay. All right. Huzzah. More appropriately, right? Huzzah. Okay. So that's that. So just for completeness' sake, well, here we are. Oh yeah. Oh no! Don't go back to the start. Go to the end. All right, there we are. That's all. Any questions, comments? Anyone want to share their wisdom or their experiences with batch modifications, bib modifications, or specify, right? All right.
There was a comment when you were talking about regex.
Yes. Is that the official pronunciation?
That's what I always call it.
For regular expressions?
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. All right. That's fine. I'll run with it. Regex. That's cool. It's like vegan, right? They're not eating vegetables, right? Anyway, sorry, George, your the comment, yes.
We call bisac bisatch. So.
Bisatch, right? It's like bad 90s slang.
Regex, that's fine.
Yeah, okay.
Nobody cares. So Carolyn, I believe Carolyn is in Librio said regex is super useful if you want to change part of a field.
Oh, part of a
she
field.
says, for example, she uses it to change parts of URLs when they make proxy servers. So you can use the regex to isolate a piece of a field and just modify that one piece.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you, Carolyn. I knew I was going to learn something from this presentation today. So yeah. Uh-oh, it's the Monday Minutes gang. Look out. They're coming after me.
There's a Monday Minutes on regex.
Oh, I know. I saw it. There's the batch item one. But I watched it like 3 times. It's like, why would I want to use regex? I mean, you described how to use it, but not why I should use it. Maybe I missed that part. I don't know.
Yeah,
sorry.
For example, we used it, but that wasn't why I wanted the microphone.
Oh, okay, great. I'll go back and rewatch the Monday Minutes episode. I'll get it this time.
Yeah, please do.
Okay.
Okay. I have a question. I never thought about this before. One of your actions you had delete 856.
Yeah.
There was no subfields. Will it in fact delete 856 and all the subfields?
Yeah.
Okay.
Totally.
And so if you had delete 500, because when we were looking at that Dungeons and Dragons record, there was multiple 500 fields.
Well, but I chose to add a 500, not delete. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but if you had said delete 500, would it in fact delete every one?
It would delete all the 500s. If we go back into here, but this is kind of a quirky thing. And I'm not quite sure how this would
there's like 4 there.
Why this would be used. But if we go, oh gosh, come on, man. Come on, arrows. So if we go into that template, to edit actions, I'm just going to go. So if we go new action, so we could do delete. If we did delete all fields 500, it would delete all the 500 fields. But there's this weird thing, you can delete just the first 500 field. So if you know that it's all, the things you want to delete are all the first field of that MARC number, then yeah, then they would only delete those. But you can't delete third or fourth, just first. It's another bug maybe, right?
I just wanted to, I was pretty sure that it did that, but that's pretty powerful to understand you are going to delete.
Yeah. And that's where the conditional stuff really comes into play. Yeah, because you don't want to just delete all your subject headings. You only want to delete the ones, you only don't want to delete the ones in German that you're not going to use. Yes. Oh, yes. Hi.
Wanted to tell you that I filed bug 37632.
Yeah.
Display MARC modification templates in alphabetical order.
Oh.
I copied on it.
Okay, cool.
And I'm about to file a bug to suggest that we get a nice diff view.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. Thank you, Andrew. That's awesome. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
I wanted to also wave it bug 26869.
26869.
Okay, so right now you talked about using the modification templates as you're importing records.
Right.
Koha will let you use a template there to put 952s into your record to make items.
Okay.
It won't let you do that if you're editing a bib that already exists in your catalog.
Oh.
So bug 26869, if anybody's interested, is currently sitting at needs sign off to make it so that if you create a 952 in your batch mod, it will also make items for you, which could be helpful.
Yeah. Okay. All you 952 fans, you know what to vote on. Okay.
Actually, building off that example, that is
Yes.
a common workflow, create items at time of entry.
Oh, okay.
And there's, I helped the library out where they had a replacement price in an O2O field. And I used regex to strip the dollar sign off the beginning of that and plunk that down into the 952 whatever.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Prices, yeah. Because if you throw a dollar sign in there, it's not going to accept it. It needs to be numerical.
Mhm.
So regex lets you say, take out anything that's not numerical.
Oh, okay, okay.
alphanumeric.
It's helpful, thank you. I think there was someone, yeah, way in the back, getting your steps in today.
Library of Congress, you know, LCGFT.
Yeah, I think you could probably do that. You just delete 650 unless, 650 subfield 2 matches LCGFT or LCSH. Yeah, I think you could probably do that.
So I was gonna also ask you,
Yeah.
When you run that particular program, because that is something that I used to do in my old ILS a long time ago, is to get rid of all those headings. I mean, how are you using a report to gather all those things together?
So we have some of it built into our import profiles, but there are lots of records that I pull in, like say from OCLC, that I don't use an import profile for, and so that's where a template could be very helpful in processing through that.
So you're generally applying this only to new records?
Yeah, things that are coming. Well, no, not necessarily. I mean, you could, like, I'm thinking, the subfield V popular works. I mean, for a public library like ours with a relatively small collection, there's not really a need to differentiate between astronomy and astronomy subfield V popular works, because we're not really buying a lot of academic works, right? So there's not really any need for that subfield. So I could have a cleanup project where I run a report to get all the subject headings that have that subfield, and then I could go through and I could process it with that template, just stripping out subfield V popular works. So it's very useful for catalog cleanup too. Sure. Oh.
So one of the things that you mentioned that you were confused, questioning how to use the copy in your play.
Oh yeah, yes.
One of the things, and actually I use regex as part of it.
Oh, all right.
There's a small subset of records that I regularly import into Koha, where they come out of our institutional repository, and what I do is I take the URL, the unique identifier, the DOI, and I strip out the domain, keep everything else, copy that as the barcode.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, okay. Cool. Well, thank you. That's helpful. Oh, right. Back across to the other side.
Made sure I was the furthest away.
Yeah, awesome, yeah.
So I have a couple different examples of things you've talked about. So one, you talk about you're using it mostly for things you're importing. Some of the things that we've been doing with the records that are already in the system. We've been on Koha for a couple of years now, and from our old system to this system, we had about 2,500 records that were periodicals that lost their 773 parent record.
Oh.
And so I've been going through and identifying that, and then I'll do a batch update saying all of these put 773 because they all belong to that parent record.
Right. Yeah.
So we've been doing a lot of batch updating that way.
Makes a lot of sense.
And then one of the other ones is the move. Being able to move.
Oh,
things.
yes.
We're trying to update to RDA, and so we're moving everything out of the 260 to 260.
Oh, yeah. Great.
Able to use
Great.
The current fields.
Yeah, that's really nice. But with that, how do you incorporate the second indicator for a place of publication, place of distribution? That's what I was thought about that as a possibility, and so you would have to go back in and specify if only we had a special something.
Yeah, we'll use MARC Edit for that sometimes.
Yeah.
For that in.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's great. Great use of move. Any others? Last chance to finish that donut, experts. Come on.
Well, there was another comment online. Joseph says, regex is great, but it's a great way of introducing even more problems into your life.
Oh,
And I
okay.
would second that. If you don't know what you're doing with regex, it's really easy to accidentally completely make huge mistakes.
Right, so test with a small batch.
The other thing I'm gonna suggest is
One
maybe the
record.
koha-US Education Committee could look at maybe doing a regex training like we've done in the past.
Well, that'd be awesome. That would be awesome.
Or
Cheers
maybe
to
even
that.
coming up with a simple koha regex reference guide like we have with the other reference guides, so.
Great, yeah, thank you. That would be really helpful, I think. Any others? Going once, going twice. Done. Thanks, everyone.